Okay, I'm Josh. I'm the best man. Hello, everyone. Okay, before I get into this, before I get into all the mushy stuff, I just wanted to make sure that Kim deleted her Tinder account. Awesome, good. And Brian, his Grindr account. Oh. So one of the jokes is there's kind of two speeches you can read. Best man speech and a eulogy, and it's, they're one and the same. But in this case, I think we're actually talking about Kim. Brian and I took an Uber here earlier, and when we pulled up, there was a van outside that had like Star Wars decals on it, and the driver's like, "Oh, are you guys having a Star Wars wedding?" And Brian got really excited for a second. And I was like, "Oh, that kind of makes sense since Brian's taking Kim to the dark side." So I wrote this earlier, and I practiced it this morning, and it was a crisp 33 minutes, so I'm glad you're all sitting. But then when I realized where I was standing with the children, it's now 4.5, so we're okay. This is the third best man speech I've done, but like probably most of you have gone to a ton of weddings. It's like 1,000 I've heard. And they're all basically the same. So everyone can relax. I'm not going to tell you stories about when Brian was a kid. No one wants to hear about little Brian growing up in the Prohibition era. We're not going to spend time talking about Brian's exploits in college. I think he was 50 when I met him. And I'm not going to tell you stories about Brian and I having these like crazy hangover type stories because I've only seen him up past 9:30 6 times in 6 years. So how did I get here? Has everyone heard the term work wife? So it's a person you spend like all your day with, do all kinds of stuff. So I'm notorious for having work wives. I married my first one. I've been lucky enough to have Heather and Jenna as work wives, and when I thought things couldn't get any better, I met Brian. So Brian was interviewed to work at my wife's property while she was on maternity leave, and it was like right before she was due to come back, and I met him, and I came home, and I was like, "You are going to absolutely hate working with this guy." I think I said he had almost no personality, and the personality he had was surly, grumpy. The majority of people in this room don't know pre-Kim Brian. Like, the branch thing is completely right. He was. It was like having a conversation with Brendan Fraser from the Encino Man. It was just lots of grunts, yes, no answers. There was no conversation. And even though my assessment of his personality was spot on, we still became fast friends over the Mets, our children, and then our mutual hatred of stupid people, or just all people. Kim, you look beautiful today. I had the pleasure of meeting Kim a couple years after that when her company bought ours, like they talked about. And we had our own trainer. So when our companies merged, I was like, "Oh, Kim's the enemy. Like I can't like Kim because we had our own trainer." And anyone who knows Kim knows how special she is, and is generally one of the best people on the planet. Her personality is infectious, and that's really good because it took Mr. Zero Personality over here and changed him. And not just like a functioning member of society, he actually smiles. He's a happy and nice person. It's amazing. It's nice to see Brian smile because he's genuinely happy, when in the past he only smiled at the misfortune of others. Kim's basically the Wizard of Oz to Brian's Tin Man. Kim and I also bonded over these personality tests we had to take at work for leadership training. We shared exactly the same qualities and quickly learned, and I enjoyed, that we're basically the same person. which I did enjoy until the fact that I realized that Brian was basically marrying the female version of me, which then I got super creeped out. So that brings us to today. And if reality dating shows and rom-coms have taught us anything, it's that at some point in a woman's life, she looks around and thinks, is this it? Is this the best I can do? And thankfully, Kim has a strong will, and it took her much longer than others to hit rock bottom. So she was still available when she and Brian met, and they eventually settled together. Okay, in all seriousness. I feel like that's the 5th time today somebody said, in all seriousness. I couldn't be happier that these two wonderful people have met each other, fell in love, and will share the rest of their lives together. One, because they were exactly the people the other person needed to be happy. Kim, to have somebody strong to lean on, to comfort her when she needs it, and to always make her feel safe. Brian, to have somebody just to make him feel. To remind him that he is allowed to have fun, and that it's okay to just do nothing some days and enjoy life. And I know that is exactly what these two amazing people and two people that I'm so honored to call my friends are going to do. They're going to enjoy an awesome life together. So, if you will raise your glasses with me. To Kim and Brian, may you have all the love and happiness this world has to offer. And when it swings the other way and things get tough, I want you to look at the wedding pictures up on the wall and remember that today, you didn't just gain a husband and you didn't just gain a wife, but you've both gained drinking partners for life.
So that's kind of hard to follow up. Thanks, dude. You should have told me to go second. I'm Allison. I'm Kim's sister-in-law. Most of my patients are asleep all the time, so I'm sorry if this is not very humorous. So seriously, in all serious, so she's my sister-in-law, but I truly think of her as my sister because I've known her as a friend and family member for over half of my life, and I apologize if I cry. I was crying when I wrote it, so that's not good. Who knows if this is going to go better. So I met Kimmy in 1998, shortly after I started college in Williamsburg, and met and started dating her brother Kevin. We quickly became friends, as she's just one of those people you feel instantly drawn to because of her smile, kindness, generosity, and loyalty. She never minded hearing stories about how great her brother was, which is kind of awkward, I'm sure. And we have continued to hang out together outside of family events. She has been there for me through all the big and small moments of my life, from my first visit with Rhonda, only she will understand that, to standing beside me as my maid of honor when I married Kevin 14 years ago, to being an amazing aunt for my children, Eleanor and Charlie. I know you all probably have dozens of stories and memories of Kim just like those. Over the years, I've seen Kim meet some nice and not so nice guys, and I'll never forget the difference when she told me about her first few weeks with Brian, or Brain, as we call him. And he must be a pretty smart guy for having won Kimmy's heart. That's a punny joke for your brother. I think we could all tell the difference just by how her smile seemed brighter and her face was glowing when she came to our house for a birthday or other family celebration. I remember her saying, "He's the one." According to Brian, they knew about 3 weeks into their dating that they were going to get married, but they waited for the rest of us to have a chance to celebrate them. It has been such a joy getting to know Brian and Chelsea, and later Carol and Frank, over the last year, and especially to see Kim so serenely happy. I use that word because her mom pointed out in a recent picture that her face seems to have such a peaceful joy in it that has been missing before Brian. I guess that's what happens when you meet the love of your life. You're missing piece, as you guys like to say. All of us who know and love Kimmy know that she, of all people, deserves a love like she has found with Brian, and I couldn't be happier that she found it in this wonderful man. As you know, Edie and Steve traveled a lot when Kim was younger. She loves to travel now, but Kevin has told me how she never wanted to move while growing up. She hated the idea of leaving her best friends behind. But at each new spot, she made people, she made new amazing friends. She collects the people that matter to her. And as we can see by looking around at the people sitting in this room, she matters to a lot of people. Brian, you are getting a loyal friend, a wonderful family in Steve and Edie, and she will be a wonderful partner to you in all of your travels and new adventures. My greatest wish for the two of you is that through the years, your love for each other will so deepen and grow that years from now, you will look back on this day, your wedding day, as the day you loved each other the least. And to quote one of Kimmy's favorites, Dr. Seuss, you know you're in love when you can't fall asleep because your reality is finally better than your dreams. So cheers. Cheers to Kimmy and Brian.